Hey, what is up, everyone? Wow, it has been a busy day already today. And I got to tell you, today is one of those days where I really just have to come out and address all the questions that I received over the weekend, right? It really started on Friday, and it all stemmed from the stimulus package. Will there be a second check? And today I'm going to talk a little bit about my ideas on it, as well as an actual draft of the bill from Senator Harris, as well as Senator Bernie Sanders, and that's Kamala Harris for those who do not know. Both of those people actually campaigned for president, and of course they were not picked. And if you know the story, it's Joe Biden, the presumptive nominee. All right, so we're going to talk about this today. I'm going to talk about specifically what's in this, it's a bill. As you can see, it says bill, but it's really a discussion draft. And I'm going to talk about what it is. And, you can actually access this because inside of this post is a link to this actual bill and an article that talks about the highlights. But I'm going to save you the reading of the highlights, and I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to give you my thoughts on whether or not it's going to pass based on some other things. Well, I'm not going to say pass, but whether or not it's going to be a strong talking point based on what the administration, the current administration in the White House has said about it, and as well as it being another stimulus, as well as just kind of signal to you the entire process of how, this thing can come about, and a key figure in terms of number that you need to think about as a starting point and where I anticipate it's probably going to end up, right? All right, first and foremost, if you don't know me, I'm your host of the Startup Junkie, AJ, and of course we come to you Monday through Friday, right here on this social platform. And we're multi-streaming across Facebook, YouTube, Twitter/Periscope. And be sure just to follow us and like us because my producer told me to tell you that. All right. As well as if you like podcasts, be sure to check out the Startup Junkie Live podcast on Spotify, TuneIn, iHeart Media, as well as the Apple platform, which is iTunes. All right. So if you are in the room, which I see there are quite a few people in the room, let me acknowledge you before we get deep into this, because this is going to be something of a discussion today. No worries. I'm not going to keep it long, but I want to say good morning to Eva. Morning is actually afternoon where I am. I have no idea where you are, but good morning to you. Good morning, Brenda. Brenda says hello. And as always, entrepreneur extraordinaire, Miss Simpson, is rolling and she's watching me. Hello. Rolling meaning you're probably driving a truck right now because I know that's your business. Yeah, I pay attention, right? All right. So I swear to you, they should not leave me in here. But let's just, for all intents purposes, let's just get to the live questions, okay? These live questions came to me over Friday, and I got to tell you, as far as I'm concerned, they're important, all right? So the first question was, will there be a second stimulus package? That's the first question. I'm going to answer that in detail, my thoughts and my predictions about it. And the second question is, hey, you talked about SSI recipients receiving a stimulus check for the whole non-filer thing. Those people that we're claiming as dependents. I have yet to receive my check. Well, we have a deadline for you, and I'm going to go ahead and share that with you now. The deadline, your check should be hitting your bank account. And don't believe me, go to the IRS's website. The link is actually in the description below in this post by Wednesday, which is May 13th. And speaking of May 13th, okay, May 13th is the actual day, your actual last day to put in your banking information in the Get My Payment portal of the IRS website. That link is also in the description here. Basically, go to that link, put your direct deposit information in, because guess what? They say if you have not put your information inside of their portal, it might take until September before you actually get a check. And yes, with 100 plus million people actually receiving a check, you would still think that everyone would have received at least the first stimulus payment, since we're talking about number 2. Now, I said to you earlier, well, let me just do this, okay? I'm going to acknowledge my sister, okay? Her name is Madeline. Hello, what's up? I can't believe you're actually watching the show. By the time you start supporting me. But anyway, here's the point. I'm about to go over this bill. And remember, I said I needed you to keep a key figure, a key number in mind. And I'm going to tell you what that key number is right now. It is 2,000. Okay, that is the key number, 2,000. Okay, why you say 2,000, AJ? Because that is the key number that Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, over in the House of Representatives, that is the number they have been pushing based on proposals that have been proposed in the House. And what has been proposed in the House and what has caught the most traction in the House is the Emergency Money for the People Act, okay? That has caused the most traction. Well, that has, caught the most traction in the House in terms of what they're looking at. So you say, AJ, why 2,000? Why is that number so significant? So let's go over to the Senate, all right? And what's going on in the Senate is Senator Kamala Harris and Senator Bernie Sanders have both proposed a new bill. And the name of the new bill is called the Monthly Economic Crisis Support Act. And the basis of that support act is $2,000. Okay. But it goes way further than what the Emergency Money for the People Act goes in the House. It goes so much and so far over that there is absolutely no way in hell, at least in my opinion, that anyone in the Senate that's on the right will actually vote for this. And let me give you some highlights of what it is that's in the Senate. Okay, so here we go. As far as the bill is concerned, some highlights of the bill include, listen to this, $2,000 a month for each individual in your house. Okay, that's husband, that's wife. That's married couple, that's $4,000, right? And then up to 3 kids, it's $2,000, 16 years of age, as I understand it on this bill. That's another $2,000 per. So that's like $10,000 a month, okay? I'm not going to give you the super specific details of the bill, but just know that there is no way in hell, at least in my opinion, that Mitch McConnell in the Senate, who will sign off or even get his people, all of the Republican senators, to even back something that's $10,000 a month. Okay. Now, not only are they proposing $10,000 a month, but they're also proposing that they make this retroactive. In other words, they make this starting from March, April, May. Okay. June. Well, if it passes or not passes, if it actually becomes something and somehow by some miraculous, feat that it actually becomes a thing that they all vote on and agree, which they won't. I'm telling you, they won't. But I told you to keep that $2,000 figure in mind per month. All right. So it calls for retroactive pay. I guarantee that's not going to happen. But I'm just letting you know what's in the bill. Okay. Something else that's more important that's actually in the Monthly Economic Crisis Support Act proposed by Senator Harris and Senator Sanders is the fact that if you owe creditors, right? Because in some states, I'm in Texas, so they don't do this in Texas, but like say places like California, when you owe a creditor, a debtor, right? The bank will actually withhold funds, right? They will withhold that money by way of court order to pay, creditors that you owe, or if you got some kind of judgment against you from a creditor, from a debtor, such as a credit card company. They are proposing that does not happen. Okay. And as I said, it begins in March 2020. In other words, they're doing retro. So let me give you some details of the bill. Now, on page 3, it says the limitations based on adjusted gross income. That's AGI, right? It would be each person, you would get like $2,000 per month up to, husband and wife or married couple and 3 kids. So that's a maximum of $10,000 a month. $200,000 in the case of joint returns. In other words, you cannot make over $200,000. $150,000 in the case of, and this is AGI, adjusted gross income. $150,000 in the case of head of household, and $100,000 in the case of an individual taxpayer. Now, do you think that's going to pass? I absolutely, or if it's going to really gain some traction, I absolutely 100% do not think it's going to gain traction. But again, look at it like this, okay? If the Democrats on the House side are screaming 2,000 through the Emergency Money for the People Act, and senators have proposed that, Democratic senators have proposed, money that begins with $2,000 a month that works retroactively. The number that they're putting out there is $2,000 a month. I really want you all to hear this, is $2,000 a month. So what does that mean? That means that is the absolute basis from which the Democrats overall in Congress, that is the House as well as the Senate, that's where they're working from. Okay, they're working from that $2,000 number. Why $2,000, I add? Well, I pose the question to you because we all know that $1,200 was not enough. We know that. Okay, $1,200 was not enough. All right, so let's talk about the feasibility, okay, of this thing actually passing. And now, keep in mind, I am not a CPA. I'm not an attorney. I am a business professor, and I am giving you just my opinion based on what I've seen, what I've researched, what I've studied. And again, I just don't get up here and just start talking ad hoc so I can just get people to watch me and build my views up. I actually bring you credible, cited research. Hence, look in this post and you'll see, access. You'll see articles. You'll see everything that I'm talking to you about. And, as far as the actual citations, you'll see that in this post below. So this is why I think that it's gonna happen, but not happen as soon as one might think. Okay. First and foremost, let me read to you what White House economic advisor Kevin Hassett said. Okay. He said another round of coronavirus relief legislation might not be necessary. Okay. It might not be necessary. And the question is, why is it not necessary? Okay. And he just said this in the Sunday talk shows. Okay. This past weekend. Why is it not necessary? Well, why are they rushing? They, meaning states, are rushing to open up to get people back to work, which, by the way, many states have seen an increase in cases because of the rush already, right? Or let me rephrase that because that's not accurate the way I said it, okay? When they reopened, prior to the reopening, maybe a day, like say, for example, I'm in Texas. In Texas, you've seen spike. You've seen spike, in cases. You've seen it all over the country for many of these states that are reopening, right? So the question is, why would the economic advisor to the president, Kevin Hassett, say that, hey, no, I'm not really sure that, that talk of us doing this is even on the table right now. Why? Well, I propose that they're literally waiting to see whether or not the economy will start to pick up traction. But you know as well as I know, in order for the economy to start picking up traction, and this is why I'm thinking that it's going to happen, okay? It needs to have some economic stimulus within the economy in order for people, while they're waiting to get paid. And you also got to remember, too, that many states are only reopening up, as far as businesses are concerned, to 25% of their capacity. Okay. In other words, restaurants can only take 25% of their capacity, and other businesses such as nail salons and barbershops, etc., can only take 25% of their capacity. Right. 25% of their capacity is not enough to get us back to where we need to be. Right. As far as a stronger economy, that is not going to happen. So what, in my opinion, keep in mind, this is just my opinion. For me, based on other things that I've seen Powell, the Fed chairman, say, there needs to be a cash infusion into American households so Americans can go out and participate in the economy to actually boost the economy up. Okay, now, speaking of Fed Chairman Powell, he has opened and relaxed and expanded lending for Main Street businesses. Okay, I'm not talking about these big corporations. I'm talking about Main Street lending. Okay, also big corporations can actually take advantage of the lending at very low lending rates. So I am predicting, and this is just my opinion, that what's going to happen, since that number 2,000 is out there, since Senator Harris and Senator Sanders on the Senate side has proposed the $2,000 per month number, and Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi have proposed the $2,000 number on the House side, that once the House actually votes, and the House has enough votes to actually send it over to the Senate, right? And then what happens is they send it over to the Senate votes on it, and if it passes, then it goes to the President. The President signs off on it, okay? All right, so follow me on this. I am saying that it's going to, some semblance of the Emergency Money for the People Act, and this is just my opinion based on research, is going to pass in the House. It's going to go over to the Senate. It's going to get some support. But there's gonna be a deep negotiation about it. That $2,000 number might not be the number that they settle on, right? And I honestly believe, based on research, based on the current administration running on a strong economy, right, and the fact, you can look this up for yourself, that major corporations want the current administration to remain for another term, that I predict that once it passes, once some semblance of stimulus passes in the Senate, the president's going to sign off on it. And of course, that's just my opinion. Why? Because you can't run on health. You have to run on economics. And if economics is strong, right? Because most of the people that I know always say, well, why? I would say, why'd you vote? Well, I voted for the current administration purely based on the fact that we got jobs, we got contracts, we got money. So the economy, prior to this whole new paradigm, this whole new reality that we're faced in, was actually kicking ass. I'm just being honest. It was kicking ass, right? So if the current administration is going to run on economics, then more money needs to be pumped into the economy, into households where, you know as well as I do, you see the stories every day. People cannot pay their rent, okay? People are having a very difficult time just maintaining, right? And guess what? Creditors will still call. They don't give a shit. People, when you owe collection agencies, they're trying to get paid too, so they're still going to call you even if you don't have a job, okay? So I'm predicting that something is going to happen in the House. It's going to go over to the Senate. There's going to be a negotiation. They're going to reduce that $2,000 number. It's going to go to the current administration's desk, and the current administration is going to sign off on it. And that's my prediction. That's why I'm thinking that it's going to happen. But I just wanted to, because you asked me what the talking points were for the new bill, I just had to share it with you. So with that said, that's today's show. I appreciate everyone checking out the Startup Junkie right here, Monday through Friday, on your social channel, no matter what platform you're on. We multi-stream Facebook, YouTube, as well as Periscope /Twitter. And be sure to check out the Startup Junkie live show, all the time, any and all the time, at your leisure, on Apple iTunes, Spotify, TuneIn, as well as iHeart Media. So until next time, everyone, I'm AJ. Till tomorrow, I don't know what the topic is going to be, but it's going to be relevant. I'm out. Take care.